Good evening students. Now we have come to the third part of advent of Europeans in India. Now the third major European power that came to Indian subcontinent were the Britishers. From the start of the video, I would like everyone to write these key points. I will be explaining these key points in this video only. Now the adventure of Francis Drake around the world in 1580 and the victory of Royal Navy over Spanish Armada in 1588 created a new sense of enterprise in the merchants of the English. Now these merchants created a group known as merchant adventurers in the year 1599. A charter was signed by the Queen Victoria I. Now this charter was earlier only for 15 years. Now this 15 years monopoly gave them a freedom to travel anywhere around the world and do businesses, build forts and create an empire for the Britishers. Now this charter was extended to innumerable years in May of 1609. Now here there came a news of the Portuguese and the Dutch who were making great profits in the Indian subcontinent. So now these merchants known as the merchant adventurers formed a group known as Governor and Company of Merchants trading in East Indies. Now this company was later known to be as the famous East India Company. Now the first Englishman that came to the Mughals, it was the rule of Jahangir, the prince from his father, the great king Akbar. Now Captain Hawkins was the first Englishman who came to India, who reached India. Captain Hawkins came to the court of Akbar in April 1609. Now, as I have told in the advent of Europeans in India in the part 1, Captain Hawkins got the favor of King Jahangir because he knew Turkish language and he did not need any interpreter talking with him. So Jahangir offered him a post of Mansabdar of giving him 3,000 rupees and a force of 6,000 which he never received. But he got a right to trade in the Indian subcontinent. But due to the opposition of Portuguese who had earlier got the favor of the Mughals, he had to leave Agra in November of 1611. Now in this short period of time, the Britishers only did business in Masulipatam. Now they did not got any chance of building their factories because initially they had to overcome many branches from the Mughals, also from the Portuguese and also from the Dutch. So initial years were very hard for the English to settle in the Indian subcontinent. Now in 1612, Captain Thomas Best fought against a fleet of Portuguese and defeated them. He came to India with his ship Dragon and a small ship known as Oceander. Now when Thomas Best defeated the Spanish fleet in India, Jahangir was very much impressed because he neither had a navy or his time. So when Jahangir was impressed by Captain Thomas Best, he gave him the right to trade in Surat. Now when the Britishers were given rights to trade in Surat, the Portuguese retaliated. They often acted as pirates and often took on ships of the English. Now in 1605, Thomas Roe came to the court of Jahangir as a representative of King James I. Now he lived in the court of Jahangir for 4 years till from 1615 to 1619. Now in these 4 years, while he did not get any of the provinces, but he got many chances and also the right to trade in Agra, Ahmedabad and Bhuj. Now these 3 regions were given to him to trade in India, but later these areas were extended till the Mahanadi Delta, that is Baleshwar, Hariharpur in Odisha. Now, earlier they got retaliated by the Dutch and as well as the Portuguese. But as we know, Princess Catherine was married to the Prince of England. Now there was a peace treaty among them. Now when Princess Catherine married in England, Bombay, that is the present day Mumbai, was given as dowry to the Britishers. Now the British king gave Bombay to the East India Company from the annual payment of £10 only. Now the first factory that the Britishers opened in India was in Masulipatam. Now Masulipatam was their headquarters in South India. When they got Bombay in 1662 as a dowry and with an annual payment of £10 to the British Crown, they shifted their headquarters of South India from Masulipatam to Bombay, which acted as a game changer because Bombay was a major port at that time. Now, the major change that helped the Britishers to carry out their businesses and they grew profits because of the Golden Farman. Now, the Golden Farman was signed between the East India Company and the Sultan of Golconda. Now, in this Golden Farman, it was written that in 1632 it was initially signed. Now, with a payment of 500 pagodas a year, the Britishers could use the ports of Golconda, and this acted as a game changer because they grew huge profits after using the ports of Golconda. Now, initially the Dutch were also a threatening for the Britishers, but after the Anglo-Dutch War, as we know in the part 2, as I have told you earlier, there was a peace treaty signed between the English and the Dutch, because in which the Dutch were left in Indonesia and the English were left in India, because the Dutch were mainly interested in the spice markets of the Indonesia, in where they grew huge profits, and the British were mainly interested in the textile market of India. The first fort that was built by the Britishers in India is a fort named as St. George. Now this fort was built in around Madras in 1632. They built this fort after getting permission from King of Chandragiri. Now here we reach at the second part of the foothold of Britishers in the Indian subcontinent. Now the second part is foothold in Bengal. Now Bengal attracted the eyes of Britishers because it was the major port of Eastern India and this province was very rich. Now it is very natural and obvious for Bengal to become a rich province because it was a major port of Eastern India and tax and levies were mainly collected from there. Since Bengal was under the control of the Mughals and Shah Shuja was their governor. Now, the Britishers appealed Shah Shuja for giving them permission to carry on trade in Bengal. Shah Shuja gave them permission in 1651 at an annual payment of rupees 3,000, in which the Britishers got right to do their activities, mercenary activities in Hooghly, Kasim Bazar, Patna and Rajmahal. Now, they carried out their trade activities, but they often got disoriented and they did not got much profit because of the taxes the custom officers collected in and around Bengal from them. Now, for this, in 1682, William Hezes appealed to Shaista Khan. Now, the Shaista Khan was a commander of the Mughals. William Hezes appealed to him to give him permission to build a fortification around Hooghly. But when this permission was not given, fugitives broke out between the Britishers and the Mughals. Now, after fugitives broke out in October of 1686, the Mughals got advanced in Hooghly. They defeated Bengals in Hooghly and captured Hooghly in 1686. After the capture of Hooghly in 1686, the company also retaliated. The company therefore captured three forts from the Mughals, that is Thana, Hizli and Baleswar. After the company retaliated and captured 3 places, the Mughals got very violent and they were defeated in these 3 places also. Now, they were later on left in only a very disoriented place in Mahanadi Delta. Now, after hostilities broke out between the Mughals and the Britishers, Job Charnock, after 4 years, in February of 1690, came to carry out discussions and sign treaties between the Mughals and the Britishers. Now, they signed treaties and the Mughals left them Hooghly. Mughals left them Hooghly in February of 1690 and new factories were established by them in February 10, 1691. But they also wanted some areas of Sultanati, Gobindapur and Kalikata, but they did not give any areas. But when they built fortifications in Hooghly, Jamindar named Sobha Singh of Sultanati, rebelled. Now this condition was very favorable for the Britishers. Now the Mughals gave them permission to buy lands in Sultanati, Gobindapur and Kalikata of payment of rupees 1200 to the Jamindars. Now after that they were given permission to build forts, in which they built Fort William in and around Hooghly. Now this is the first major fort that they built in Hooghly, and in which their business changed. They got much profit because there was no custom officers there due to the sign of Farmans. Now Fort William was built in Hooghly and Sir Charles Eyre was his first president. Now in 1750, with King Farrukh Sire, he is a descendant of Mughal. 3 Farrukh Sire Farmans were signed by the Britishers by the British officer John Surnam. Now from these 3 Farmans, some of the key points were: 1. The Britishers initially got the right to trade in Bengal. They will not give any more custom duties and will settle up with the initial custom duty of rupees 3000. They also got the trading rights of Surat, and they will not pay any additional custom duty and will pay annually rupees 10,000 to the Mughals. They also got the Madras Presidency, where they had to only pay the earlier taxes of Madras. They also printed coins in Bombay, which were viable in all over India. Now they got much of the presidencies and the area. They also got the rights to buy more land in West Bengal or moreover Hooghly. They also got rights to trade anywhere in the presidency of Mughals. Now they got much of these rights through only diplomacy and flattery. As the Mughals were getting weaker day by day, they had to get amalgamated with the company so that they will also get mutual profit. As after Aurangzeb, the Mughals were falling apart, they had to sign them, and the Britishers only got these only through diplomacy and flattery without any further warfare with the Mughals. Now, in England, another company was taking place. They were discarding the merchant adventurers, the East India Company, and they were doing another company on their own with Sir William Norris as their president. William Norris came to the Aurangzeb's court in 1688, and 1688 they were forming new company, the with William Norris as their head. William Norris came to the court of Aurangzeb in 1701 and he lived there only for a year, but this company was later amalgamated to the United Company of Merchants of England Trading in East Indies. This was mainly amalgamated because they did not want the Whigs. They were often called as the Whigs. They discarded the policies that were taken by the initial East India Company and they wanted to settle up another company in India, which were known as the Whigs. Sir William Norris came there as a representative and stayed for 1 year in India, but it was not successful because of the Crown's pressure. The Crown did not want to get another company. They usually amalgamated the two companies to form the United Company of Merchants of England Trading in East Indies, which is later famously known as the East India Company, which helped the British Crown to modify India as their empire and work in India from 1708 to 1873. That is more than 150 years. The last European company that came to India, and they were the French. Now the French were the first companies who knew that a lot of profit that were acquired by the Portuguese, Dutch and English, but they did not come to the India because they were spending lot of their time and money for reviving their colonies in Madagascar, but it was without any success. Now their famous minister known as Colbert appealed this to the King Louis XIV for their campaign in India. So the king was also very interested in it because it was giving huge profits to other European powers. So in 1664, the French company known as Compagnie des Indes Orientales was formed by King Louis XIV. Now he initially granted a monopoly of 15 years for doing trade in India, and this company was directly controlled by the government. The first governor that was appointed to establish company in India was Francis Caron. Now Francis Caron was accompanied by an Arab trader known as Marsara, and they started their company and arrived in the East Indies, that in India, in 1667. After 3 years of the company was formed. Now they went to different kings for granting. First, they went to the Shaista Khan, that is governor of Bengal, and they were given the rights to trade in the 3 regions. And the treaty was formed Karaikal, Baleshwar, Kasim Bazar in the east. Now they also did treaty with the Sultan of Bijapur and got the port Pondicherry. Now here Pondicherry always remained as the major port of the French. Now Francis Caron, first factory that was the French did was in Masulipatam. Now like the English, they also did treaty with the king of Golconda known as Golden Forman. The French also did treaty with the king of Golconda, and they got the rights to do trade inside the various ports of Golconda. Now this is how the French government did the trade in India, initial trades in India. Now Francis Caron was replaced by Francis Martin. Now when Francis Martin was retired, who was next Governor General, he initially did everything, the signings, the treaty signings between the Subadar of Bengal, the king of Golconda. This was all done by Francis Martin. Now the setbacks. Now the setbacks that the French had, initially they were doing profit from the factories of Masulipatam, Baleshwar, Kasim Bazar, Karaikal. They were doing huge profits. They were not bothered by anyone because they had great power. But due to the treaty signing between the Dutch and the English, the Dutch were friendly toward the English and they were enemies toward the French. So So this initially grew tensions, and in 1688 the French and Dutch war started. In this method, the Dutch captured the Pondicherry in 1693. Now in this war, the French were defeated and the Dutch captured the major ports, that is Pondicherry, in 1693, and they all kept under them. Now Treaty of Ryswick was signed between the Dutch and the French, where the Dutch agreed to leave Pondicherry. Now initially they agreed in 1697, but they did not leave the port till further 2 years. Now in this way their trade was down by little bit. But now their trade also started after the Treaty of Ryswick, and Francis Martin did everything to start the trade, and they were also going huge profits. But after that, the Spain War of Succession starts in Europe. So when the Spain War of Succession starts, everyone in the Europe wanted to conquer Austria, and everyone wanted a land. So the French withdrew their forces from India, and initially they left India, abandoning every factories they had and every ports they had. They left with their ships, and Francis Martin also died in 1706. Now the major drawback they got after the death of Francis Martin, because Francis Martin was very mindful governor. He initially established all the factories. Francis Caron only came to India as a representative, but every treaty was done by Francis Martin. After Francis Martin died, the French also removed their groups from India due to the Austrian succession of war and the Spanish War. Now in 1720, the French came back to India. After the war, in the European countries, the French came back to India and formed the Perpetual Company of the Indies. The Perpetual Company of the Indies was formed, and from 1720 to 1744, this company stayed in India. Now, this is the part about the French. Now, in the next part, we will discuss how the Britishers only remained as the central power of India, and why all the other European powers like Portuguese, Dutch and French could not survive in India. Thank you.